guys, how are you, and welcome back to my channel. On today's video I want to film a review on the foundation that I'm wearing right now, and this is gonna be throughout the day kind of wearing the foundation and letting you guys know how it works. Tom Ford Traceless foundation stick. Mine is looking a little bit ratchet because my dog bit it. That's why I was postponing doing this foundation review. But you can see here that it almost didn't survive. In the end, it survived. My dog had foundation stains for a while because she ate the top layer of the foundation. I had to chop off like $30 of foundation and then put a lot of alcohol. But it's okay, it's safe. She's my puppy, so whatever she does, I still love her. So if you guys want to see the review on this foundation, $85 foundation, then just keep on watching. So this is actually how the foundation looks, because I have only natural lighting and I'm sitting in front of a window. I have nothing light on. You could see the ring light because when I used to have my ring light and my lightings on, you could see them on my eyes. Now you can't see anything. So this is actually how I look in person. It's a little bit darker for me, so I had to run it a little bit through here because right now I'm trying to get rid of a fake tan to apply a fresh one. And I use it in the shade 6.5 Sable. And I would like to have this in a shade lighter because I'm realizing now that all of my foundations are too dark for me. Sort of as if I would have a fake tan, a fresh fake tan always, and that's a lie. 80% of the year or 70% of the year, I'm wearing no fake tan at all. And I'm pretty light. So I need to have foundations on my color and a few that are tan because I like looking tan. So this foundation, I applied it at 10:30 in the morning and it's now 2:30 p.m. So that means that I've had it for about 4 hours right now. And it's looking extra good, taking into account that I live in Barranquilla. And I'm going to show you guys because maybe you guys would think that I'm just being dramatic. But the weather here, I even changed it to Fahrenheit because here we go from Celsius or centigrades. And it's 87. It was 87 when I applied it. And then I took another picture to show you guys here that the humidity shows to be 77%, but it feels like 100%. So we're always sweating. So it's really hot. For a foundation to hold up on my oily T-zone 4 hours is actually a good thing. This foundation says that it's matte. I don't agree with that. I think it's more natural. It doesn't feel dry at all. It's actually super creamy when it goes into the skin, but it stays looking natural. And I haven't seen oils coming through my nose. My nose is the first place when I notice that a foundation is breaking up on me. This foundation comes with 15 grams of product. It's no different than a lot of the stick foundations out there. It's rare for a stick foundation to come with a full ounce. This one comes with half an ounce. So it's basically a little bit more than other foundations. The last stick foundation that I was in love with was my Ultra HD by Makeup Forever. But that one, I can't use it in this weather because it looks beautiful at first because that foundation is super nice for pictures. It looks beautiful on the skin. It's flawless. It blends amazingly. But it breaks up on me like this. It doesn't last at all on my skin. It doesn't make me look pretty. So that one I'm actually not using right now. But that one I think comes with 0.45. So this one has actually more product. I think the container before my dog bit it was super nice. It's heavy. It's beautiful. Even though it's bitten, the color is beautiful. It looks super expensive. But maybe it could be done a little bit smaller. Even if it was chubbier but smaller, it would be better because I find that it's a waste of packaging and maybe a waste of space. A lot of makeup artists grab this foundation, take it into little plastic containers, and then they deposit it there. I wouldn't do that to an $85 foundation. It just wouldn't feel right for me. The packaging could be smaller, but I love everything else about it. It feels expensive, as it should, because it's an $85 foundation. Before I forget, I'm gonna let you know the things that I use before applying the foundation. So the first thing that I used was the Cover FX mattifying primer. This says that it's mattifying, but I feel this is a smoothing primer more than a mattifying primer. This doesn't change the wear time of the other foundations that I know how much they last, and this doesn't keep my oils controlled at all. I'm just telling you the name so that you guys can know what I'm talking about. It doesn't keep me matte, never, ever, ever. It lets my oils run free. And then the powder that I used to set it was my Chanel Natural Finish Loose Powder. This is the one that I have on my project pan. Not because I don't love it, but because I love it a ton. It's almost gone right now. This was the one that I used to set my entire face, my concealer, and everything. I find that this powder helps the performance of a lot of my foundations, and I have to say this foundation performs almost always the same unless I'm using a luminous primer, sort of like the La Mer, the old formula, or the Hourglass Veil powder, because those tend to make me a little bit more oily. I'm already oily, so those powders work for me if I'm setting just this part of my face, but if I'm setting my T-zone, they don't help my oils, they just let them be free quicker. Those are the products that I use with the foundation, but I find that every time I wear it, it always works the same way unless I put a luminous powder on top. I'm gonna read you the claims of the foundation. It says that the coverage is medium, which I have to agree, but it's actually pretty buildable. You can build it up without looking cakey, and that's always a good thing, and you can sheer it out as well. It's said to work with any type of skin. I not necessarily agree. My skin is combination, so I have oils on my T-zone and I have pretty normal skin on the rest of my face. But mostly on my nose is where I'm oily, and maybe right here a little bit. And this foundation for me wouldn't work on a person that's extremely oily. I don't know, maybe it does. Stick foundations, any way you use them, they're emollient. So if you put it on someone that's really oily, I don't think it's gonna last a long time throughout the day, to be honest. At least I find it to be better for dry, normal, and combination skin, but not super oily skin. The finish is matte, but it also says that it's a cream foundation that creates a flawless natural finish. So I get when they say matte because it doesn't show any glow on my face after I set it with my powder. I don't use luminous products underneath. If I did, it would let them peek through. So that's what I think that they mean for a natural finish. Because when I use the completely extremely matte foundations, the ones that I love throughout the day, they are uncomfortable when you just put them on. This doesn't feel anything like it. This doesn't feel dry in any point. It just feels comfortable. I don't feel like I'm wearing foundation right now. Of course, it looks like makeup because it's makeup, but it doesn't really feel like anything. It's not tacky. Even though I said it, there are foundations that are so creamy that even when you touch them throughout the day, if you touch your face, you feel the creams coming back to life. Yeah, about an hour ago when my husband came home to have lunch, we were here in bed for a little bit and I was dozing off because it's so hot that I get super sleepy, and I've been working out more, so I'm always exhausted. And I dozed off for a little bit. Almost always, I don't know why, but it's like my oils know when I'm passed out and they're like, okay, let's have a party. And they come out like this, super quick. I passed out for about 45 minutes. I just woke up. I don't pay attention to how I pass out. If I pass out, I don't mind having my face all over the pillow. It doesn't matter to me. The only thing that I reapplied from morning to now was my Dior Lip Glow, but I didn't reapply my foundation or powder or anything. The only thing I can see is I have a little glow in the tip of my nose, but I even applied powder highlighter a little bit in my nose when I first applied my foundation. So that's normal for me. If I don't apply highlighter on the tip of my nose, it will stay matte or more matte throughout the day. So yeah, I even passed out and everything and my oils didn't come through. I was squeezing out a pimple, that's why I made it a birthmark. But I was squeezing out like a blind pimple because it wasn't even a pimple. Nothing came out, but I was really putting a lot of pressure into that spot. So it was sore and it started to peel. And right After that, I applied the foundation, and the foundation didn't go into any fine lines. It didn't settle. Even when I had a little bit of skin peeled off, the foundation did not sit weird on top of the spot. It just looks flawless on top of everything, in my opinion. I have a wrinkly forehead. Nothing ever goes in, but creamy products tend to enhance everything, and this foundation didn't. This foundation, you can find it at Sephora. You can also find it at Beautylish. And I think you can find it at Nordstrom, Saks, and every other store. But Ulta doesn't carry Tom Ford products. It's a nice thing to also see, because I always read the reviews, that it has a 4.6 stars at Sephora, and the reviews are pretty good. Some people even use it as a concealer, because you can even use it as concealer. I just prefer to use foundations as foundations, but I know that you can sheer this out or make it as full coverage as you'd like. When using this, I always go with my Sephora BIB Rouge. This is the Pro Flawless Airbrush foundation brush. I think this is the 56.5. These I got as a perk with the BIB Rouge renewal last year, but I know that you can buy it at Sephora, the full size. And this is a good foundation brush. First, put the stripes on my face, and then I blended it with the sponge. And if I have any excess foundation, I will go in with a beauty blender and tap it into the skin. But I like applying it with a brush. Few foundations, I like them that way. So if you want a sheer coverage, I recommend the Beauty Blender all the way. If you like to get the most coverage you want out of a foundation, it's better to go with a brush. Or even if you want to sheer it out, you can sheer it out with a brush, applying just a small amount. But if you want full coverage, apply the amount that you want and then blend it on the spot with a brush on top of the excess with a beauty blender, and it works beautifully with both. I've used the beauty blender with it before, but I prefer how it looks with a brush. So I'm just gonna move the camera a little bit closer so that you guys can see my skin with the foundation, and then I'm gonna start filming a lot of videos, and then I'll be back and finish this review. This is what the foundation looks up close. Oh my god, you can see every pore and everything. You can see on my wrinkles and everything, it doesn't settle. It looks beautiful. In my opinion, it looks like actual skin. Okay guys, so this is gonna be my final check-in, and I'm gonna show you how oily I am, and I'm gonna tell you my final thoughts on the foundation. It's 5:18, so it's about 7 hours after I applied the foundation, which most of the time, the amount of time that we wear a foundation is for 8 to 10 hours when we're doing an entire day with makeup on. 8 hours is pretty good for me. Even with 2 hours, I already know if the foundation worked for me or not, because I start getting oily on my nose super quick. It doesn't matter what foundation I'm using. Just a few foundations do not let my oils come through after about 5 to 6 hours, but I always get oils on my nose. The thing that differentiates every foundation, the regular ones, the crappy ones from the best ones, is how it separates, or if it doesn't separate even when my oils come through. You can see right now that I'm a little bit more glowy on my nose. And that's normal for me. That doesn't bother me, because what I always do is I grab blotting papers, and it's just something that comes with the territory when you have an oily nose. But I'm gonna look up close. My nose still has the foundation on it. And it looks oily. I do not like how oily it looks. That happens every time I get oily. It doesn't look as bad in the camera as it does in person. I do not like oiliness. So I just did my chin, and now I'm just pressing it lightly on my nose. The reason why I press it lightly is because I want to remove the oils, but I don't want to move my foundation. So those are all the oils that came through, and a little bit of foundation came off. So now I'm gonna check in the mirror again. Okay, so the foundation stayed put for the most part. Just a little bit came out, but almost always a lot of the foundation on the tip of my nose goes away completely. So another thing that I like to do when I get oily and I blot is I put a little bit of powder on top. So the powder that I'm gonna use is the Chanel one, which is the one that I use to set the foundation. I'm gonna top off the excess and just press it into my skin. Since I had oils, if I rub it, then I will move the foundation. So what I want is to have it set for longer. A lot of foundations, when I tap them with powder, they almost lose themselves and they get removed with the brush, even if I tap the brush, or they look cakey afterwards. This one, what I like is that even though it has been 7.5 hours, it still looks beautiful after I powder it, and it looks as good as new. It doesn't look like anything faded away. I'm never worried about this part of my face because this part of my face always stays put beautifully. But I'm surprised with this foundation every time I use it, because even though it's a cream and I live in this humid, crazy weather, it stays put and it looks beautiful after a touch-up. So I'm gonna put you guys super close so that you guys can see it, and then I'll tell you if I would recommend you to purchase it or not. Okay, so this is after applying powder on top of my T-zone. And maybe you can see right here, but those are sort of like wrinkly parts. And that happens to me with every foundation. So my final thoughts on the foundation is that if you have the money to buy the foundation, because it's $85, then go ahead and purchase it. If you don't, I know that there are a lot of foundations that are between the 30 something and 40 something dollars that work beautifully also on the skin. But if you are a makeup collector and you've been wanting this foundation and you've been saving for it or whatever, then go and get it because it's a beautiful foundation. You guys saw how it stayed put throughout the day, and how even after retouching it up close, you can see that the makeup still looks beautiful. That for me, it's wonderful. I'm a foundation junkie. I have a lot of foundations, but not all of them I adore. And not all of them make it to the point where I'm not worried about looking like a crazy person after a while after being out, because I'm oily on my nose and live in a humid weather. So this foundation, it's in my opinion a 9 out of 10. For me, the 10 out of 10, it's my Estee Lauder Double Wear, because that one doesn't let my oils come through. For that to happen, it's in the 10-hour mark. But this is a different consistency. It looks more natural and more beautiful on the skin. So for me, a 9 out of 10, it's a high ranking for a foundation. So if you've been wanting to try it and you have the money, go ahead and try it. I think it's a wonderful foundation and it is worth it. It is worth it in my opinion. But could you find something else that's that good? Not a stick foundation. I haven't found a stick foundation that works better than that for less money. Not if you have the same things as I do, like humid weather and oily nose and oily face. It won't work the same way. At least it didn't work for me. So that's it, guys. Hope you enjoyed this video. Let me know if you want to see any more foundation Fridays or foundation reviews on my channel, and which foundation do you want to see next. I've been mixing 2 foundations, so if you want to see a full coverage, bulletproof foundation routine with 2 foundations that are not the Estee Lauder Double Wear, please let me know in the comments below and I will happily do that for you. Maybe a summer sweat-proof kind of foundation, and I would love to do that for you. Don't forget to hit the notification bell, subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. Also, like this video if you liked it. Leave anything you want to see down below. Remember that I post videos Monday, Wednesdays, and Fridays. And I guess I'll see you on the next one. Bye-bye.